Hey guys, it's RobJ here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what I feed my ants, how to keep some of the more expensive ant foods in stock cheaply, i.e. flies are normally a problem, and sort of ant behaviours and other things. So I'm going to start off with what you're seeing here. Today's dinner for my ants is fresh cut strawberry and flies, or army flies in this case. So let's start with what we're seeing here. So the flies themselves. Now flies are generally in the middle range of live foods to buy, as as far as price goes, but they are also the fastest to die off, meaning that they generally will work out more expensive to keep in. Now, the most common one that people talk about is curly wing fly, and although I recommend it, I generally get a pot every couple of months, and they don't last me very long. They virtually all hatch by the arrival, or hatch within a few days of arrival, and then you've got no more than a week to 2 weeks before they're all dead. I generally never get through the pot before they're dead, and I will not feed dead to my ants. So flies are always a problem to keep in stock, but I have a little trick for you. If you buy calci worms, which look like little flat maggots in soil, leave them a couple of weeks and they turn into army flies, which is what you're seeing here. Okay, now they don't all hatch at the same time. You get a steady supply for weeks and weeks and weeks of army flies. Basically, you'll see 1 or 2 flies emerge, and you're getting to the round the right time. And if you already got a couple of colonies, start feeding off straight away. Otherwise, wait until you've got enough for all your colonies, then feed them off. Wait for more to emerge, and you'll find you'll have tens coming out every couple of nights. So it's brilliant to keep flies in, and cheap, because you just buy a pot of calci worms and just wait. Now, I'm using strawberries here, but my main sugary food source is got to be apple. I use a different variety apple every week, and I just work my way through, really. I give them a slice even if they want it or don't want it. Other fruits that I have tried and do use include white grapes and melon, along with a few different from the berry families, but not often. But if we move back to protein, I use flies. I do curly wing flies every now and again, but due to what I was explaining earlier, not often. So it's like just a treat, I guess. They have Asian flies. I use mealworms. Superworms are good. One of their favourites are the Argentinian wood cockroach, which is a dubia feeder roach, or feeder roaches. They're all the same thing. I can do them. I do fruit flies, but not often, because it's the same story as the flies. They die off quite quickly. Crickets and locusts. Now you can buy tiny little locusts, yeah, and your ants will love to carry them into their nest and eat them. And the same goes for crickets, but when it comes to crickets, cost-wise, it's best to buy regular sized crickets, and every cricket you cut in half to double how many colonies you can feed. So every cricket will do 2 colonies if you buy the normal size, and they're all priced the same, but you just get far less. Other things that I like to use for protein is cooked meats. I know I have used chicken, roast chicken. They absolutely adore roast chicken. I have tried hams and different things like that. They're sometimes a hit, mostly not. Jellies are sometimes a hit with some species and then some not. And then you've got things like some ants that may not be seed eaters will accept some seeds, even some cereal or anything along them lines. But the range of foods that you can feed to your ants is vast. I'm just naming what I feed mine, not what you can feed them. So make sure you make that distinction. This is just my routine of foods. But one of my favourite things to do for them once every couple of weeks is I will hard boil an egg and take the yolk out of the centre, chop the yolk up into little cubes, and all my species, apart from some of the Campodotus species, love to take that, but it's a hit with the Mesa barbarus, or actually both of my Mesa species take it quite nicely. Especially the Lacius ants and things like that. They love it, so it's always a good thing. Only thing is, they seem to turn it into dust powder everywhere. That's probably the process of them eating it. So you do need like a little hoover or to clean out really well afterwards. Otherwise you might have a problem with mould. So just make sure you do a proper clean if you do use that food. Now, as far as behaviour goes, one thing that I have noticed, if you just noticed in the first video, that was a large Campodotus species. Now there's plenty of them in the nest, but the thing is, you only saw one ant, and he was hardly interested, or sorry, she was hardly interested. And sometimes you're thinking, is it the food I'm feeding them? Do they not like the food? Well, you've got to understand, for a Campodotus species that's well fed every day, as well as they've got a few things in their nest, they've got constant supply of sugar water and waters. A lot of the time, while it's still a small colony of about 15 to 20 workers, they might not need to be fed. I'm doing it every day, so when you don't get a massive response, it's not so much of a big deal. They're not hungry. Some nights I do see 2 or 3 workers out eating the insides of of cockroaches and crickets and stuff like that, and then some days they'll leave the crickets and won't touch them. It's literally, are they hungry or not? Other species, you'll see like they'll swarm. Some of the Lacius species are quite visual eaters, and I say that in the fact that you put food in and you see them go straight to it and eat it. So they're sort of visual eaters. But you've got to also realise, are your ants nocturnal? Because I have some Campodotus Nico or Nico, but Berensis ants, and they're otherwise known as sugar ants, and they are nocturnals. So they eat at night when I'm asleep, basically. So you've got to work out, I'm not seeing my ants eating because they're not coming out, or some ants are very sensitive. Have you made noise? Is the lid being taken off, frightened them to come out? There's going to be a load of reasons for a host of behaviours after when you put your food in. But one of the most rewarding ants to watch with your proteins and your dead insects and stuff like that is the Fidoli ants that I've got. That's what you can see in the background here. 1 or 2 ants find it, and then the alarm is raised, and that's it. Over the next 3 or 4 hours, it starts with like 10, and it'll work up to like 20, 30, and in the end there'll be a massive swarm of about 50 odd ants just all over it. And as you can see, a lot of them are already trying to pull it. Once the water dries, which is what's technically holding it in place, they will take that into the nest and devour it totally and bring out this black dust, which they'll put in a nice pile and I'll come along and remove. So that's been today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a spin-off video, and but I've tried to keep on topic. There are more videos coming soon, as well as review videos. We'll be getting back into them soon enough. So I'll stop the video there. Please like the video and do subscribe if you're not already. And don't forget, I have got a Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, follow me at RobJSANT. And I'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.